Imagine waking up one morning and realizing you have more money than entire countries, more power than most politicians, and more influence over the world than kings or queens. This is the story of John D. Rockefeller, the man who became the first billionaire in human history, and whose wealth was so massive that even today, over 100 years later, no one truly rivals his fortune. But here's the twist: Rockefeller wasn't born into wealth. Far from it. He entered this world in 1839 in a small farmhouse in upstate New York. His father, nicknamed Devil Bill, was a traveling salesman, known for his scams and questionable lifestyle. His mother, Eliza, was a devout, disciplined woman who taught young John the value of saving every penny. So no, Rockefeller didn't inherit money. Instead, he built it brick by brick, and he built it big. At just 16, he got his first job as an assistant bookkeeper, earning less than $1 a day. But even then, John had a vision. He kept meticulous records of every cent he spent, obsessed with growth and opportunity. And when he discovered the booming oil industry, his life, and the world, would never be the same. In 1870, Rockefeller founded Standard Oil, the company that made him a legend. He didn't just play the game, he rewrote the rules. He bought competitors, slashed prices, made secret deals with railroads, and built a monopoly so massive that by the 1880s, he controlled nearly 90% of America's oil. If you lit a lamp anywhere in the country, there was a good chance Rockefeller's oil fueled it. Power, he had it. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Rockefeller's wealth gave him influence over politicians, industries, and even entire nations. Some called him a genius. Others called him ruthless. Both were right. He wasn't afraid to crush competition, and many accused him of using dirty tactics, secret rebates, backroom deals, and even price wars that drove rivals out of business. But love him or hate him, you couldn't ignore him. What about his personal life? Did this billionaire party with champagne and yachts? Surprisingly, no. Rockefeller wasn't flashy. He married his school sweetheart, Laura Spelman, and they stayed together for life, raising 5 children. He was a family man who loved playing golf and giving away dimes to children he met, yes, literal dimes, a habit that made him oddly famous. But make no mistake, Rockefeller knew how to enjoy his wealth. At his peak, his fortune exceeded $1.4 billion in his time, which is over $400 billion today. He owned sprawling estates, private estates like Kykute Mansion in New York, and traveled in style. The most expensive thing he ever spent on wasn't a car or a diamond, but the massive philanthropic projects he funded. He gave away over $500 million to schools, universities, and medical research, shaping education and science for generations. And how did it feel to be the world's first billionaire? When Rockefeller officially crossed that milestone in 1916, he was already a legend. He once said, "The man who starts out simply with the idea of getting rich won't succeed. You must have a larger ambition." For Rockefeller, money was power, but also a tool. He loved control, he loved building, and he loved winning. But let's not sugarcoat it, his road to wealth wasn't clean. Critics accused him of being a robber baron, exploiting workers, and crushing small businesses. His empire eventually became so dominant that the US government broke up Standard Oil in 1911. Ironically, that breakup made him even richer because each piece of his company skyrocketed in value. Now, here's a fun question: what would Rockefeller be like if he lived today? Imagine a man with more money than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates combined. He'd own entire tech companies, dominate Wall Street, add to his oil company. With his drive and cunning, he'd probably control industries we haven't even invented yet. And love him or hate him, we'd all be living in Rockefeller's world. And now, the question you've been waiting for: what happened to his family? Are there Rockefellers alive today? Absolutely. Rockefeller's legacy lives on not just in history books, but through hundreds of descendants. Some of his great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren are household names in philanthropy and finance. There's David Rockefeller Jr., who chairs environmental and charity foundations. Eileen Rockefeller, who works in mental health and emotional well-being. Neva Rockefeller Goodwin, an economist shaping global development. Valerie Rockefeller Wayne, who leads philanthropic work in education. And Justin Rockefeller, a modern investor and advocate for impact investing. They may not flaunt unimaginable wealth like John did, but collectively, the Rockefeller family still controls billions through trusts, investments, and charitable institutions like the Rockefeller Foundation and Rockefeller University. Instead of oil, today they influence education, health, environmental policy, and global philanthropy. By the time he died in 1937, at the age of 97, Rockefeller wasn't just the richest man in history, he was a symbol. A symbol of ambition, controversy, and how one person can reshape the world. His legacy lives on not just in the companies and foundations he built, but in the very idea that one person's vision, for better or worse, can change everything. So the next time you hear about billionaires racing to space or buying social media companies, remember, it all started with a quiet, penny-counting kid named John D. Rockefeller. And now, I'll leave you with this question. If Rockefeller were alive today, do you think he'd be a hero, the most feared man on earth, or the world's richest billionaire?